All right, man, peace. So, brothers, this is going to be the long-awaited aftermath video, the recap for the WBA Welterweight Championship bout that occurred last Saturday night between the current boxing legend and future Hall of Famer Manny the Pac-Man Pacquiao against the very talented but very flawed Adrien the Problem, aka Adrien the Problem Child Broner. And as we watched that fight, it pretty much went exactly how I thought it was going to go. There were a couple of moments in the fight where there were some almost knockdowns. Adrien almost knocked down Manny once. Manny almost knocked down Adrien. I'll say once. He staggered him a couple of times. But it went how I thought it was going to go. Because Adrien Broner, as I've stated numerous times on this channel, he's the modern day Zab Judah. And just like Zab Judah, once Zab got around 30 years old, he became more of a gatekeeper than a real contender to defeat high-level champions. Because there are levels to champions. You have good fighting champions, good boxing champions, and then you have elite level champions. Adrien's very, very gifted, just like Zab Judah was very gifted. But they were both missing the supreme gift, that being boxing IQ. And I'm not quite sure why anybody was surprised by Adrien Broner's tirade at the end of the fight. I thought that it was very, very consistent with what he said he was about prior to the fight. That being that he was going to be repping for the quote-unquote hood. He said prior to the fight, this fight's for the hood. So what was he saying? He wasn't saying that he was fighting for black people or for the upliftment of the so-called black community. He was saying the hood. And what's the hood about? The hood, for the most part, is about excuse making. It's about being delusional. It's about trying to blame everybody else for your shortcomings, as opposed to focusing on where you're at, as opposed to how you want to get to a certain point. And certain people might say, well, how could you say that about Adrien? Adrien has basically fought himself from the bottom all the way to the top. Yes, he has. But he still has a quote-unquote hood mentality. And there's a difference between a hood dude and a dude from the hood. Dudes from the hood, like Floyd Mayweather or Andre Ward, they're able to transcend their condition by elevating their mentality, their thought process. People like Adrien Broner, Zab Judah, even Mike Tyson, they're unable to elevate their thought process. That's why when they're met with adversity, they have mental breakdowns. And we've seen this all the time. Adrien Broner has mental breakdowns. Zab Judah has mental breakdowns. Mike Tyson had mental breakdowns because they were hood dudes. They weren't just dudes from the hood. Certain people might not like what I'm saying right now because the concepts that I'm referring to are truly something that I should be expounding on in another video, but I'm touching on it now because of what Adrien Broner was going on incessantly about prior to the match. That being that he was going to quote-unquote rep for the hood. There are a lot of dynamics that led to his tirade after the fight. It wasn't just his fault. It was also his training staff's fault. Because in between the rounds, as opposed to telling him the truth, the unadulterated truth, they decided that they were going to mix truth with fiction and maintain his delusion. He literally sat down in between the rounds and asked his coach, Kevin Cunningham, did I win that round? And as opposed to telling him the truth, which is no, Kevin Cunningham decided to mix the truth with fiction. Yeah, man, you're moving good, but you're not countering. You're not throwing enough blows. But you won that round. Well, how the fuck did you win the round if you're not connecting on blows? All you're doing is moving. His foot movement was good. But he was not countering effectively enough, consistently enough. His counters were effective in spots, but he was not consistent with his output. And he refused to lead, which is a problem with Adrien Broner. He refuses to lead. He refuses to utilize his jab. After the fight, he claimed that he utilized the same game plan as Floyd Mayweather, and the fight went the same way as Floyd Mayweather's fight. Once again, that's hood logic. Hood logic is based on delusions, oftentimes delusions of grandeur. And as I've told you brothers numerous times, Adrien Broner at one time was a fan of Floyd Mayweather. All a fan is a hater that has not fully gestated yet. Once a fan has their full gestation period, they become a hater because they set that entity up as an idol. They put that person up on a pedestal. And if and when they get the chance to meet that person, they're going to spend most of their time comparing the image that they wanted that person to embody with the real person. And the real person can never measure up to the person that you had in your mind. Because at the end of the day, a fanboy or a fangirl or a groupie or what have you, they always, in a very perverse way, want their idol to bend to their wishes. Very, very strange and perverse, that mentality of being a fan. Because they come across the person that they're a fan of and they always want that idol, which they have essentially placed above themselves, to conform to their whims, which seems to be both ironic and contradictory. That you would want something that you place above you to obey you. But just getting back to the point, and I've touched on this in other videos, particularly in relation to the dynamic between the so-called OG and what real cultures have, which is an elder. What the OG is able to do, and the only thing that he or she is able to do, is teach the youth how to avoid pitfalls in a life of crime or in a dysfunctional mentality. That's all an OG can do. An elder teaches you about life, about history, about culture, etc. All OGs could do is teach you how to avoid the pitfalls of the street life, hopefully, because of the mistakes that they themselves made. And in the so-called black community, we have a lot of OGs, but we don't have elders. That's the main problem. And Adrien Broner is a reflection of that because, once again, he was never told the truth by his trainers. It's the job of Kevin Cunningham and his other coach, Mike Stafford, who supposedly raised him from his youth to be a boxer, to inform him, Adrien, you're not winning these rounds. To tell him you're winning the rounds, but you're not throwing enough. That's a contradiction within itself. You're facing Manny Pacquiao, one of the legendary fighters in the history of professional boxing, and you think they're going to let you win a fight doing what you were doing, which is basically running most of the fight, and then have the nerve to try to compare what you did to what Floyd Mayweather did? Freddie Roach is on record after the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight as saying that Floyd Mayweather exhibited the greatest jab that he'd ever seen in that bout. And this is something that non-pro level boxers do. They elevate, they ascend, they transcend the conventional rule book for their sport. Because conventionally, regular fighters are told to not use the jab too much against the southpaw, to use the straight right and the left hook. Fighters like Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward, they do what they want to do because they can see things on a higher level. That boxing IQ is there. Adrien Broner could have that if he had a higher boxing IQ. But that's a gift. That's not really something that you can get to an ethereal level unless you're gifted. Of course, you can improve it through experience. But I knew that Pacquiao was going to defeat Broner. It was only going to be a matter of time. Because I've seen Broner against elite competition before. And what he pretty much is a Floyd Mayweather mimic. And you can't mimic greatness. You just can't do it. You have to find your own little wrinkles. You take things from other fighters, but you have to find who you are as a fighter and try to amplify that. And Broner's never done that. One of the reasons why is because he has OGs. He does not have elders. Once again, elders instruct you on the path that's the best for you to build you up in the best way possible. And Broner's wasted most of his life trying to copy Mayweather, and it clearly has not been as fruitful as he would have liked it to be. But people have to understand something when you watch Floyd Mayweather fight. He's only 5'7.5", but he has a 72-inch reach, which is preternaturally strange for a person of his stature. Most fighters of that height have a reach of about 65, 66, maybe 67 inches, which is what we saw from Pacquiao and Broner. That's what their reach is, around 65, 66 inches. Floyd Mayweather's reach is 72 inches, so that means that he can counter you more effectively. His range and great understanding of distance becomes even more potent because of how he's been gifted with his reach. That's not even talking about his defensive skill set, his reflexes, etc. So Broner tries to copy that, but he can't. And because he has short arms, and he gets in there with elite fighters, and Pacquiao can reach him. And Broner cannot connect with Pacquiao without putting himself in danger. And it was very clear throughout the fight that Broner was, he felt the power. And he knew he had to keep it moving. Because if he tried to engage in a firefight with this guy, it was not going to go well. He did not have the confidence to engage in a firefight with Pacquiao, and it's understandable because Pacquiao has faster hands than him in flurries. Broner probably has as fast a hands as Pacquiao in very compact, either one punch or maybe two or even three punch combinations. But how many times does Broner throw a three punch combination? It's very, very rare because he wants to get in and get out. And that's why Broner's always going to be who he is. He's going to be a novelty act. But as I was saying, he told you what he was about before the fight. He said that he was going to rep for the hood. And as I've stated already, this is a concept for another video. But our people have to disassociate themselves from the hood mentality because the hood mentality is dysfunctional and it's destructive. And it's solely meant to glamorize idiocy and idiots. That's all that's meant to do. Okay? But Broner did not lie. He said, I'm doing this for the hood. He never said, I'm doing this for my people. I'm doing this for black people. He said, I'm doing it for the hood. What that means is what? All the nonsense that gets glamorized by many of the quote-unquote pro-blackity blacks online. You'll always notice they're quick to call somebody a coon if they're a so-called Republican or if they don't agree with them on many of their strange and fruitless ideologies. But they won't call a gang member a coon. They won't call a drug dealer a coon. They won't call women who abort their fetuses coons. Right? They won't call them coons, but they'll call people who espouse ideologies that are not quote-unquote conventionally black coons. Okay? And as I've stated in the past, the so-called black man should not identify himself with liberalism or conservatism. We have to operate above that. But many of our people fall into that paradigm and they try to castigate the so-called conservative or Republican dynamic. That's what they're heavily in favor of. And let me also say this. I give a lot of credit to coaches like Barry Hunter and Kevin Cunningham and Mike Stafford, who basically have had to act as stewards over many of these black boys who've been brought into the world by low-level, irresponsible thotties and the low-level men that inseminated them. And these men have tried to do their best to raise these boys with a certain level of structure. And that's why I make these videos about so-called black man, protect your seed. These things are essential because if not, we have people like Adrien Broner. I mean, no disrespect to Adrien Broner's father. Of course, he's around. But, if Adrien Broner is a reflection of him and what he taught his son, he didn't teach him much. Because Adrien Broner is one of the most ignorant and dumbest niggas that happened to become famous that I've seen in a while. Like, he's way out there with his stupidity. His level of stupidity is astronomical. Like, this dude actually sat down and said that he's more influential over today's fighters than Floyd Mayweather. And the reason why he said that is because, once again, he was a fanboy. Much like LeBron James, that's that Benny Blanco from the Bronx mentality. The person that I admire, I want to destroy. I want to destroy his memory because I'm upset that he will not acknowledge me to the degree that I want him to acknowledge me. Very, very dangerous. And just looking at Mayweather outside the ring. And oh, before I forget, you know what's so funny? And let me just go over the undercards very quickly, because there were two very good undercard matchups. One of them being between Rashid Warren, who's a friend of Broner, and the other fighter, Ubali, who I'd never seen fight before. Ubali was very impressive. Came into the fight, obviously in great condition, stuck to his game plan. Rashid Warren understood that he was in trouble by the middle rounds. He tried to box with him. He got outboxed. He tried to brawl with him. He got outbrawled. He showed a lot of heart. The Cincinnati fighters, they always show a lot of heart, especially when they start getting their ass whooped. But they have very, very low boxing IQ. All right, at least the Cincinnati fighters that I've seen. Robert Easter, Adrien Broner, Rashid Warren, they pretty much all do the same thing. They fight hard. They have a lot of heart. They have good chins. But their boxing IQ is very, very low. And as soon as their plan A doesn't work, they think that they deserve the victory just by lasting the whole fight. And no, that's not how it works. But I give Rashid Warren a lot more credit than I do Broner because he handled his loss like a man. I think that he knew that he lost. And Barry Hunter was far more honest with him than Kevin Cunningham was with Broner. And as I've stated in the past, that's the importance of honesty. If you care about someone and you love them, you're going to be honest with them. Okay? Because if you lie to them and tell them that they're winning when they're really losing, you're going to put them in a position to embarrass themselves. And that's what Kevin Cunningham did. And that's what Mike Stafford did. Barry Hunter let Rasheed Warren know you're losing the fight. So when he didn't get the decision, there was no embarrassment for him. He didn't make an ass of himself. Kevin Cunningham at the press conference before the fight, trying to act like he's deep. You know, I only got two things, my balls and my word, and I don't break them for nobody. I'm sitting there laughing to myself like, did this nigga just quote Scarface and try to act like he made that shit up himself? Is he really on the podium right now quoting Scarface and trying to act like he said something deep? That's why Pacquiao just sits there and laughs. You got to understand something. You know, a lot of our people, they love to glamorize that hood shit. And this is why a lot of the other races that you want to love you so much don't take you seriously. Because our people talk about that repping for the hood bullshit. But then they'll talk about how rough the neighborhood was that they came from. Well, do you love where you came from or don't you? Which one is it? Because if you're going to talk about how bad the area was that you came from, then we have to improve it. If you're talking about how much you love the rough area that you came from it's because you don't want to improve it. You want to become a part of it. You want to become a part of the problem, not the solution. Once again, maybe that's why Adrien's nickname is so apropos. Because he is a problem. And he's a reflection of a larger problem that we have as so-called black men. Because some of these niggas got to go. All right? Some of these niggas got to go. But that's a whole other video. Point being is this: Manny Pacquiao comes from an environment where he had to go out to the rice paddy and catch a rat and beat the rat with a stick and eat that shit. You think he's worried about all that hood shit? Manny Pacquiao said, I take you to Manila and we beat you with the machete. That's how we get down. Manny Pacquiao don't care about that. That's why when he was talking all that shit, he was just there laughing. Manny Pacquiao happy to be alive, man. That man's just happy to be alive. He's happy to be alive so he can go be a senator in the Philippines, embezzle his money, allegedly, you know, call the cameras up so that he can give some of the money away and just live his life. Manny's happy with that shit. He's not thinking about all that silly hood shit. Our people have to raise our level of comprehension. In order for us to do that, a lot of these niggas got to go. Because they're like an anchor. That hood mentality has to be destroyed. But once again, Adrien Broner did not lie. He said he was repping for the hood. And after the fight, he repped for the hood even more by making an ass of himself. That's what he did. So he did what he was supposed to do. He repped for the hood. All right? Came up short, was delusional, made a bunch of excuses, and conducted himself in a dumb manner. He did rep for the hood. He absolutely did. So he did not lie. Pacquiao did a great job. I expected him to. Pacquiao is still in the position where he's going to beat most of these fighters. There are very few fighters that I will pick to beat Manny Pacquiao. And let me say this. He looked diminished to me. He did not look as fast. His reflexes were not that good. His head movement looked slow. Certain people said that he had the flu or he was sick. Maybe he was. He's also 40. That's why I call Adrien Broner a live dog before this fight, because I knew that he would have opportunities. Adrien Broner is physically very talented. So I thought, well, if he can land hard counters, step in, have the courage to step in and try to finish Pacquiao off, especially early, he might have a chance. But I knew that after round 5, Pacquiao was going to wear him down. Because Pacquiao has a type of power that does not dissipate over the course of the fight. His power doesn't dissipate. And I knew that Adrien Broner, once he started looking at the clock and all that other stuff, he was just trying to survive. He was just trying to survive. He wasn't trying to win. And there are winners and there are survivors. Adrien Broner is a survivor. He's not a winner. But just getting back to the overall point, older black men, we can't be scared to tell younger black boys or younger black men the truth. They have to hear the truth. Okay? If you've had experience in life, you have to tell the truth. You can't just tell them what you think they're going to want to hear or fake positive reinforcement. You have to tell people the truth so that they don't make asses of themselves. Like Floyd Mayweather did about Badu Jack. When Jim Gray said to Floyd Mayweather, who's winning the fight between Badou Jack, his in-house fighter, and Marcus Brown, the incumbent, Floyd Mayweather said, right now, Marcus Brown is winning the fight. He's outboxing Badou. Because Badou Jack was just looking for one big punch. But why was he doing that? Because Badou Jack realized very quickly that Marcus Brown was a better athlete than him, was faster than him, had better feet than him, and was stronger than he thought he was going to be. Badou Jack thought that he was going to take him into deep water and drown him, maybe catch him with something. And let me say this, there's no way that that fight should have been allowed to continue with that big-ass gash in the middle of that man's head. That shit was ridiculous. Like that looked like some alien shit. Like, remember how the alien come out of the person's stomach? That's how that man's forehead looked. I said, what the hell is going on here? They opened up that man's forehead. I could see what he was thinking. I said, they need to call this fight off, man. What's going on? Man's face looked like a horror movie. But anyway, congratulations to Marcus Brown. And as I stated, Floyd Mayweather was very straightforward and honest, just like he was about Deontay Wilder. When all the pro-blackity blacks got mad at him, supposedly he was hating. You know, whenever you're honest, you're hating. Why the hell does Floyd Mayweather have to hate on Deontay Wilder? Floyd Mayweather has made more money. He probably made more money in the last exhibition match than Deontay Wilder has made his whole career. But our people are so unaccustomed to hearing the truth, especially a lot of black males. They think and act like women. So they think that when you tell them the truth that you're trying to hate on them. All right? Sometimes people are hating. But you have to be intelligent enough to discern when somebody's trying to tell you the truth to help you out as opposed to trying to keep you down. A person like Floyd Mayweather who has accomplished so much, he don't have to hate on no fighter. At the end of the day, Badou Jack lost because he did not have the tools or the natural gifts to beat a guy like Marcus Brown. They could fight 15 times. Badou might win at the most twice if he catch him with something. But he's just not as good a boxer as Marcus Brown. And his age showed. His age showed. And it's okay. But just getting back to Adrien Broner, nice fighter. You saw he tried to spaz out on Al Heyman after the fight. Normal pro-blackity black bullshit is always somebody else's fault. It's never his fault. It's never just, you know what, Pacquiao was the better fighter. Oh, you know, they wanted the Mayweather Pacquiao match. Dude, please. You wanted that match. Because if you really wanted to defeat Pacquiao, you would have stepped in. You would have led with your jab. You would have tried to hurt him. You never tried to hurt him. All you did was dance around the ring the whole damn fight. Best footwork I've seen from you in years. Even Adrian's fans said he lost the fight. Devin Haney, the young up-and-coming prospect / boxing star on the rise, said, even though I'm not that impressed with him, but, you know, it is what it is. I have to watch him some more. But what I've seen from Devin Haney, he doesn't stand out to me. But even Devin Haney stated, I gave Broner a round and a half, and I was rooting for him. I mean, I think you could find 2, maybe 3 rounds to give to Broner, maybe. But Pacquiao beat the shit out of that man. When I say beat the shit out of him, I'm not talking about from a literal perspective. I mean, he had him on the run. Like Broner was clearly scared of Pacquiao. No doubt about it. But anyway, we'll see what happens down the line for both Manny Pacquiao and Broner. I do think that Floyd will fight Pacquiao later on this year, most likely, but we'll see. Maybe Floyd will decide to just stay retired. I hope that he does. So peace.